So I've been arguing this for a very long time, for over a decade. That right there. Here's the problem with religion, and the reason why it's so toxic to human beings. Human beings, as we are now, have a limited degree of perception. We are as blind as those people in Plato's cave allegory. Go check it out. So we have we're stuck in a present sense impression of everything. And then we have what we have perceived, because perception affects how you understood what you saw. That's just the part of it, because this is TikTok. I want to keep this short. But the issue with giving a man, a human being, a God that they neither hear nor see, nor have the kind of relationship in which one can work with that deity over time with the addition of sight and hearing. What you do is you give a man a void. You know, people always talked about that God-shaped hole since, I know, at least the 90s. And there's this God-shaped hole in all of us, and there was the whole song. The problem with Christianity is it gives man that God-shaped hole. Okay, people try to tell you that it is God, but it's Christianity that gives you the void. Call it the God box. And what that God box does, what Christians do and what religious people do with their God box, is into that box they stick bits and pieces of who and what they will worship. They define what their God is. They collect their stories of what they think occurred. And again, the whole perception thing comes into play, because things that people consider supernatural, I have a whole series on this. When you have a broader width and breadth of understanding about reality, you realize that things that humans think are spiritual are just normal, natural things going on in their environment. They just don't have the aptitude nor capacity to perceive them beyond them being shadows on a wall or noises at nighttime or disembodied voices, because they don't see. They see without seeing and they hear without hearing, but that's a longer TikTok. But the truth is that both, we're correct in that human beings create their God. You cannot, and that's what I was alluding to over in the other video, which is the starter dough has been infected by rocks and trash and debris. So that bread that we call Christianity, that we eat, that we call the body of Christ, is something that's very much so polluted. And I would argue that you're not going to be able to come up with a pristine version of Christianity. I would say at least not here in the Americas. Some people like to bring up the subject of Ethiopia. But look at what that Christianity is plagued by and infected with. And again, you see the problem is that you have a man who is given a void that he then has to fill when he's told, you need this God, and you pick up this book and you go read this book. Well, you cannot get away from misinterpretation of what you're reading or interpreting whatever you're reading in the Bible and the version and the book that you've chosen to read out of, because that's a whole other TikTok too. But you can't get away from misinterpreting. You can't get away from adding your perception of how the words should be read and how the story should be understood. We find this in the whole phenomena of striking children. People literally believe that if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. No matter how much the data shows on what that verse actually meant, people still believe that you cannot discipline your children without beating on them. And so we find ourselves in the position of truly being the creators of the creator. And then you, over time, I'm not saying that things don't exist outside of the perception of humans, because humans, as I was saying earlier, are literally blind, and they are literally deaf. And we're like those, those horses that have to wear blinders during like the Kentucky Derby and whatever. We're like that, and we are like those people who are sitting in Plato. Y'all need to go read Plato's Cave, because that allegory is sort of like the foundation of some things that I'm trying to write about, because we are about to go through time, believe it or not. We're in the middle of it, really, and going to go through time to where people will have the opportunity to better perceive reality. Okay. They're going to be given the opportunity to grow and to increase their ability to perceive, because this is perception. And what Lance Wallenow, Murillo, and whatever that other dude was, and all those other grifters, prophets, PROFITSs, so mired in their supremacy that they literally don't realize that's what that is. Christian nationalism, supremacy, misogyny, patriarchy, dominionism, needing to take everything by force. And oh, by the way, the man has to be at the head of this taking. Okay. And after that, and really it's minimally melanated men are to be in control, but this is going long. I'll wrap it back around to the very beginning. Religion provides the void, and human beings fill that void. And you see in the world right now, the Abrahamic religions tantruming, as they always do. You see the Christians being wrong once again about the tantruming that's going on, but you see people using their holy books and their beliefs about who and what their God is and what their God allows, which apparently is genocide of the innocent. And so people should clearly walk away from what we've been saying for the past couple of years, and I would say decades of it. Human beings, and I hate to say that religion is dangerous, and spirituality is good. It just, because for a lot of people, it opens the doors into something that they can't control, which should really indicate to them that their religion is a means of controlling spirituality, which is something you don't have control over. The best thing that you can do is grow your ability to perceive. And the more that you can perceive, the more that you can sense and see, the more you start to come out of the lies that are perpetrated. Because we live in what I call the upside down, in a place of perpetual exploitation, to the extent that people have been brainwashed to believe that only a few people should be happy, able to afford all the things that they need, and that those few people should be able to hoard all the resources. It's why I've started talking about scarcity logic. It's a lie. So when people speak on that, we're all just really in a simulation. And so if you realize the fact that the logic upon which our current world as it currently manifests is a logic that we created and that we co-created and that we all decided was going to be true. Some of us didn't get a choice, okay? But if you understand that to be true, then you understand that you can undo the lies and we can make different choices, including stop accepting the void that religion gives us. Because religion is just another form of control that men have found, however they found it. They found that control, and that control allows them to create their God, and that God authorize them to do all manner of evil.